Wow. Oops, sorry. Hi, I'm Christine Gritmon. This is Social, my weekly Facebook Live show where I talk about social media, and we look like ghosts right now.
I'm so bright.
I'm going to see if I can maybe,
look
that's
at that.
better.
So you get a super
no.
close-up? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, let's lean forward a little. Okay,
like,
so anyway, it's very weird. So there we
This
go.
is the perfect
Hi.
lighting for me.
Yes, there we go.
Can't
So
believe-
I am Christine Gritmon, and I'm here at Vassar because I'm here for my Vassar reunion. Yay, Vassar College in Poughkeepsie. And so I really wanted to get a Vassar alum or someone affiliated with Vassar who was here for reunion as my guest, and Twitter delivered. My friend Clay on Twitter connected me with Bruce Mendelson or Mendelssohn?
Yes, Mendelssohn, thank you.
Mendelssohn, and he went here. It's actually not even his reunion, it's his wife's reunion, but he's here, and he is a Vassarian. So tell us about yourself.
Well, I am a digital storyteller.
Ooh, nice.
I tell
Aren't
the
we
stories.
all?
Yeah, I tell the
We're still
stories.
glowing.
Still glowing? All right.
let's-
Super close-up?
Yeah, this is great. Okay.
All right, so
there we go. Cuddle
I
up.
tell the stories, right? That's what we do at Vassar, right? It doesn't matter, male, female.
There you
we all just cuddle
go.
up.
Exactly.
So
it's a very loving school.
I tell the stories that help organizations stand out. And, we've been telling stories since our ancestors have been writing on cave walls. And digital media is just another way of telling stories.
This is our campfire.
Right. So this is our campfire. So I like to use, I use all the means at my disposal to do that, whether it's print, content development, social media, digital marketing, email marketing. And I hope, in this conversation that we can talk a little bit about all those and maybe familiarize people with, give people a better understanding of how they can work together.
Absolutely, fantastic. So obviously you didn't start your career in social media. They didn't have social media when either of us was here. Let's move in a little bit. And so how did you get into social media?
So I started out as like you, as a cub reporter at the Poughkeepsie Journal.
Oh my goodness.
I had an internship at the Poughkeepsie Journal.
Right here.
And then after I graduated,
Now
I
a
went.
Gannett company,
That's
so
right,
some of my former colleagues from the Journal News are there now.
Gannett owns everything.
Gannett
or
owns
Gatehouse.
everything.
Gannett or Gatehouse, they own everything.
Yeah, Gannett owns everything around here.
So after that, I went into the military, and I was in the military for about 4 years. I got out of the
Oh, you
military.
know what? I got the impression it was longer, because I know it had a very deep impact
Yes.
on you.
Yes.
Because of course it did.
Outsized. I mean, for the 1/12 of my life that I was in the military, it informs much of what I do and how I view society.
Then again, Vassar was 4 years, and that obviously impacted
I mean, that was 8 years that was really impactful. But they get you at a time in your life when you are easily influenced. Anyway, so I got out of the military. I went back to D.C., where I'm from, and I was finishing up my master's degree in systems management. And I managed to hook up with a guy who was the former director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons, who was starting a newsletter on corrections. So we started this newsletter, and I can.
And you had communication skills.
I can string a subject and a verb and some adjectives together.
Yeah.
So that newsletter really told the stories from an administration standpoint. And this was just around the time when prison privatization was getting to be a big deal. So I went around to various prisons, told the stories of operations, of management, of correctional officers' lives, and that kind of got me into a career in law enforcement. I went on to represent McGruff the crime dog.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, McGruff, take a bite out of crime.
Yes.
Awesome. And then ended up working at the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., and then moved up to Massachusetts in 2006 to get married to my college sweetheart.
Nice.
Right. And I worked at MIT for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
And that was in a leadership program where we were developing communications, so-called soft skills. We don't call them soft skills. We were developing these communication skills in MIT students.
Oh, great.
And part of that was, how do you manage your personal brand online? What sites do you need to be on? What do you say? What do you not say?
What time frame was this?
This was from 2007 to 2014.
Okay, so social media was a thing already.
I mean, it was like the Wild West then, and much
Yes.
like it is now. It's like the Wild West. There are no rules, right?
That
So-
even back then, there were way fewer rules. It was very... A few years ago, people were freaking out because they're like, oh, there's this Facebook bug that's putting your private messages on your timeline. But they weren't your private messages.
Right.
You used to put that stuff on
Right.
each other's timelines. That's how you spoke on Facebook.
It's so interesting.
Yes,
So-
Greg, I know we're overexposed. Sorry.
Yeah, who can do this? I mean, look at this.
I know. Oy. All right.
It's like better, but I always get this
better.
off the top of my head anyway, so
Yeah.
it's all right. I hope people aren't like, listen to what I say. Don't look at the bright light emanating off my head.
There you go.
Okay. She
Yeah,
has beautiful hair.
I just
have
can't
no
fix
hair.
it. But anyway, continue.
Okay. So right. So thanks. So we were helping MIT students not only become effective leaders, but incorporate communications into their leadership style and approach.
Because that's how you really get ahead. I mean, programming skill and things like that, all those, very mathematical, left brain, is it? Left brain
Left brain
stuff.
is creative. Yeah, left brain is
Oh,
creative.
then the other
right brain-
side.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we don't know because we're all about left brain here at Vassar, right?
So whatever side of the brain it is, I mean, you need to be, that's not what's going to get people to invest in you.
Yeah. And
So
particularly,
personal
like if you're going to
branding
be a
is
startup,
for
right? If
anyone.
you're going to be a startup, you got to know how to convince people through your language. You have to relate to people. And social media is people look at it as transactional. I look at it as relational.
Yes.
It's about relationships.
Yes.
And how do you deepen relationships? Through effective communications.
Amen.
So that kind of brings me up to now.
Yep.
No problem. That kind of brings me up to now, and I've been doing some consulting for various organizations, and I'm also looking for a full-time position where I can, tell an organization's stories.
Fantastic. Love it.
Thanks.
So one of the things that we discussed in advance was, you really do, anything that you put online really does become part of your story, part of your communications, part of your brand, whether you want it to or not. You are telling the story of who you are. So we were just talking about the Harvard story.
Yeah.
There were, for anyone who hasn't heard, there was a story with there was a Facebook group for people who had been admitted to Harvard, so incoming, rising freshmen, and it took a turn.
Yeah.
Some of the more offensive people in it decided to start their own subgroup, and they kind of didn't realize that the college could see that.
Owned it. Owned the Facebook site from which they derived the names.
Yeah, so they sort of missed that part. Maybe it was the pinned post and they couldn't really see it on mobile. Who knows? But whatever it was, they missed the memo that the college could see what they were doing and the things that they were communicating to their college about who they were, the story they were telling,
right,
was not a good story.
Right.
It was a racist story. It was a sexist story. It was a homophobic story. It was not cool. And Harvard rescinded their admission.
Right. So this year, I have some numbers about.
So
it
good for those of you who are waitlisted at Harvard.
There are 10 or 12
Mazel.
spots that are open for you.
Yes.
So
Just don't be a jerk.
Right. This year, Harvard had the highest. It accepted 5.2% of their applicants.
Whew.
Right, 5.2%. But they had the highest conversion rate. So you talk about your customer acquisition funnel.
Yeah.
84% of the people, 84% of the incoming freshmen who were offered admission accepted, which was
Wow.
the highest rate in their history.
That is crazy conversion rate. That's
Right.
incredible.
Right, so of course they want to engage these people, the smartest, best and the brightest, want to engage with each other before they get to Harvard.
But you're right, that's a really good point of how engagement increases conversion, because the fact is it connects you, it makes you want to be a part of a brand story,
Right.
even if that brand is Harvard, which has obvious advantages, but the fact is it didn't have that 84% conversion rate before.
Right. So, look, they what they do is they think, once they're admitted, they can go off and do whatever they want. The fact is, what I say is someone somewhere is watching. Right. When it comes to social media, someone somewhere is watching.
I mean, I hope so.
Right. Whether you have 40 followers or 40,000, right? At least Greg is watching, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Right, I know we're overexposed, but someone somewhere is watching, and you got to be careful about that because you don't own that product. And people think on social media, oh, I posted it, it's mine. It's not yours.
No.
You don't own it. If you post it on a work computer,
It belongs to the
work
world.
owns it.
Yeah.
And if you post it on your private computer, it goes out to the world. Guess what, Justine Sacco? Right.
Man.
Guess what? I mean, you're in trouble.
And you were just saying something about Uber too before,
right.
about to that note of the fact
you.
is, whether you want it to or not, what you put out there in social media becomes part of your story.
Right.
And sometimes you become the story.
Right. So Uber this week has had some bad PR.
Okay.
Right. I mean, they've lost a couple of their senior executives. They fired a bunch of employees because of sexual harassment and retaliation and bullying. Now Uber has been a darling of the shared economy, right? You're the Uber of this, like you said before, that you're the Uber of this, the Uber of that. And in this case, you might
I'm
not want
the
to be
Uber of social media knowledge.
You might not want to be like the Uber of.
I mean, I'm the Lyft of social media knowledge.
So Uber, but then once these guys got fired, once the word got out, it went viral. Right, so people are reading, Uber is they're sexual harassing. So what comes up? A business. These brilliant women come up with an idea of a female Uber. It's just women drivers taking women to different places.
That is brilliant, and
Right.
especially, from a
'Cause they're
safety
safer,
perspective.
right? They feel safer, right? So this is an elemental issue. Safety is an elemental issue. Do you feel safe when you get into the car with a stranger? Apparently, with Uber, some people don't, and so this gets out into the media. It goes viral, and Uber suffers.
So you got to be careful.
Yeah,
Always.
So the PR is
It
an
used to
important
be
component,
back
yeah.
in the day, it was the newspapers who would be going crazy
Right.
over it, but no, it's
Or I would tell you-
instantaneous, and
Right,
the
I would
reach
tell
is
you,
insane.
yeah, I would tell you, and that would be it.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, I was in an Uber, and the guy's a Yankees fan, and I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm never going to Uber again, right? But I
You would
jest,
be wrong in that
right?
circumstance.
I jest, but that's where it ended.
Yeah.
But now with social, you can be an Uber, and you'd be getting hit on, and you're like, yeah, my Uber driver's
You're
hitting
like,
on
here's
me.
a picture of this
Right.
jerk.
Here's a
Yeah.
photo, right? And then Uber has a management problem. So the shared economy raises its own issues. Yes, you're an owner, but as an owner, you have responsibility. But as an
Yes.
individual, you have responsibility for your own social media and your own personal brand online. And a lot of people don't pay attention to their personal brand online.
And that's something that actually is a thing in the traditional news media now. Because I worked in a newsroom for a pretty short time. It was very impactful, so it feels like I was there longer, but it was actually a very short time. And one of the things that was a very big deal, that there were a couple elements of social media that were really starting to become a thing. One of them is the idea of, really restricting what you can and can't put even on your own personal social media, because people know you're a representative of that company.
Right,
So if you
right.
are a journalist, and this is not the case
right.
everywhere, but I know that this was something that we were told. I don't even know if it's still the case anymore. We were told that even on your personal profile, you had to remain fairly neutral on things like politics and things that could be considered as skewing your coverage.
That's why you see...
Because people, if someone sees you posting, like, for example, now, if you look at my Twitter, there's kind of a lot of anti-Trump stuff. When I was a journalist, I could not do that because people would look at anything I covered and, think that it was colored with that brush. And if I were covering something like politics, which I was not, but still, or even if someone said, oh, she's, hugely anti-Trump, she works with that person who's covering politics. That person who's covering politics might be like her. So even traditional journalism has to worry about that now. Traditional journalists also are being taught on the best ways to scour Twitter.
Oh, right.
And
they're
how to
using
use
it for
it
research.
properly.
They're
They're
checking
using it
you
for
out.
research,
Right.
but
They're
at the
checking
same
you out.
time,
If you're a
there's-
source, they're checking you out.
There's, there are clear legal restrictions as to what you can and can't use. The fact that someone posts a video of something happening now, on Twitter does not mean you can grab that video from Twitter.
Right. It's not
You
in the public
can't
domain.
do that.
Right.
You need to reach out to them personally and receive written permission. And so just all that, all those levels to which, we all have to be very concerned about, where the lines are on social, because the fact is, on the one hand, you need to assume that anything you are putting out belongs to the world now, but you need to realize that things that other people are putting out don't necessarily belong to you. It's very dicey.
And what other people may be putting out about you. So you have to really
That
scour
is
like that
huge.
that Thursday night, that throwback Thursday photo of you doing a cake stand might not be the best thing that your employer wants to see, right?
So that would be fine for me now, because I am an aficionado of local craft breweries.
So you mentioned the media, right?
But I
You
would have
mentioned-
to make sure that keg stand is not on like a Heineken keg. It has to be like from Defiant in Pearl River.
Good one. So you mentioned
That's
the
on
media.
brand for me.
You mentioned the media,
Local.
right? So Denver Post reporter Terry Fry, he's covering the Indianapolis 500, right? Indianapolis 500 is like washed in patriotism, America,
Yes.
right? Love it, NASCAR, America, flags, everything, right? Who wins it? A Japanese driver. So Terry Fry tweets, nothing personal. Anytime you start a tweet or a social media post with nothing personal,
I don't want to sound racist,
follower?
but
I think everybody should own some.
I mean, I'm not sexist, but
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, he says nothing personal.
if there's a but,
But I feel,
never trust a big
right.
butt with a smile.
That's a good one. So I feel, he says, something like, I feel uncomfortable with a Japanese driver winning the Indianapolis 500 on Memorial Day weekend. Well, less than 24 hours later, this guy is gone.
Yeah, he is.
And the Denver Post issues a very terse apology, saying this is not. And by the way, Terry Fry is no longer an employee of the Denver Post.
Oh my
right now, this guy
goodness.
backpedaled. He said, "This is not what I meant. I had a friend whose father died in World War II and blah blah." But once it's out there, it's gone, and it takes on a life of its own.
And people interpret it the way that they want to.
Right.
I won't get into it, but there was a local issue recently where there was a matter of something being said that someone decided to interpret the way that they wanted to. And the fact is, even what your message is, what you intend to convey, that's not always what the story becomes, and it sucks. And that's one of the weird things about the internet. It's like, on the plus side, everyone has their opinion. On the minus side, everyone has their opinion. And everyone's looking through everything through a lens. And you have to be conscious of the fact that you don't know what other lenses people are looking through, and sometimes they're screwy. And
but this applies to customer acquisition. Right, so this applies to customer acquisition, and we were going to spend a little time talking about how do you get these guys, how do you get your customers into the funnel, and what do you do to keep them there?
Yeah, and to the point of what we were talking about before, where we were talking about how you don't own the message that's out there on Facebook. Point, right. You don't own the message that's out there on Twitter. You don't own your followers. Facebook or Twitter, the platform can take them from you. You do own your mailing list, because those are people who have opted into your story. And so a lot of people don't really get quite how to connect social media, and that I myself actually am only about to start using a mailing list, because before I was like, I don't really...
Constant Contact? I love Constant Contact.
I'm going to use MailChimp. Yeah, but...
MailChimp is good too.
But basically, I was like, well, I like promoting other people. I don't want to promote me. But that's not how you grow a business. And so I... plus that's other people's followers. That's other people's stuff. What brand equity am I building? So I started my own content strategy, which this basically is, a couple months ago, and I blog it after, and I'm going to start having a mailing list. But previously I was like, well, everything I do is on social. What do I need email for? If you're on social media, what do you need email for?
Right.
So let's talk about that, about why it still matters to bring people into your traditional marketing funnel, which includes email, even if you're all about social, and how they can work together.
Right. So look, fundamentally, you want to use your social and your blog and your video stuff to drive people to your email list, right? And your email should incorporate back references, so she referred back to your social, to your video, to your blog. So you create almost this confined circle, this confined universe within which your customers operate, your potential customers, and so they can refer out. But once you get them into this circle, you get to keep them in there. Right now, two things happen when you circle the wagons. Right. Number one, nobody can come in, but number two, nobody can get out. So you want to have some little leakages in there so that people can kind of get for the
and so
free
they
flow
don't
of
feel
people.
Trapped, because when people feel like you're trapping them in a cell,
so you give them something, you give them something, you give them information, which you do very, very well. You give them information to engage with other people, because I hate to say it, but a rising tide lifts all boats. So
I love that phrase. That is my favorite phrase in business. Collaboration, not
Help
competition,
people.
is my favorite thing.
Right.
It's success is not a zero-sum game. And especially with an industry that's on the rise, like social media and like digital marketing and this whole new world of digital, the more people we get who are versed in this, the more we all succeed. Right. Anyone who's operating in the space.
So I mentioned that because when you talk about circling the wagons and letting people in and out, what you're seeing now is a lot of these campaigns and contests, and they're 4 or 5 smaller brands getting together, putting together a contest in which they offer, say, a travel package with a hotel room from one of these boutique hotels.
Too many brands,
with some cosmetics.
Crazy,
but, 4 or 5, 3 or 4, 3 to 5 maybe is the limit.
I'll talk about some good and bad examples that I've seen.
Please do, because I'd like to know. But they do this, and they say, okay, well, if you want this this wonderful vacation to New York City, and you get this and the other thing, sign up your name. So you enter your name. Okay, you enter your name. But then you say, oh, you can get multiple. They say if you want more entries, follow us on Instagram, follow us on, like us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, retweet this, share it with your friends, so you get more and more entries. It costs them nothing.
Correct.
But it builds their email list, and they start capturing names to whom the individual brands can market.
Furthermore, they also are adding that other brand's
It's a force multiplier.
They're adding that other brand's why can't I think characteristics
Their
whatever,
cachet or something
to their story. They're saying, if you are Travel and Leisure magazine and you have a contest that is run not only that someone can go stay at the Four Seasons, but also that you are running the contest with Four Seasons, and they're one of the places where you have to actually go to get entries on their page.
Driving traffic to them too.
Well, yeah, but it also means that they are that level of, shishi.
Right. And so that actually helps the brands with brand visibility. It helps them with their social because they get more positive exposure socially, and it helps them with their email list, and it costs nothing.
And it can even help their clientele, because the fact is, sometimes some of those other brands that their clients aren't following, they absolutely want to follow, and they discover it through you, and then they have the warm fuzzies for you because you have introduced them to this thing that they now love.
Right. So the contests and campaigns are
the thing is,
really
if you're going to partner with multiple brands on a contesting campaign, dear God, don't let it be too many. Because first of all, it just looks like you're selling out your customers. Because customers are smart. They know that you are getting a professional advantage by sharing their information with your partner companies. So first of all, you don't want to sell your customers out or make them feel sold out. Second of all, you don't want them to do too much work, because every additional thing that they have to click, you're going to get more and more attrition.
Yep. Yeah.
People don't want to click a million things, but at the same time, if you can get them to click a few things, the fact that you've gotten them to do several things means that they're going to feel more affiliated with your brand, because they feel like, I must be. Why would I be clicking all these things if I didn't want it?
Right. So you're talking about brand engagement.
Yes.
Right.
But if you have too many, it gets crazy.
What's
Instagram.
Too many to you? I said 3 to 5.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I enter things like that mostly on email, actually, but also a bit on social for things like travel packages, win a house. There's this green
makeover.
things like that. So I don't need a makeover. No, but so things
a home makeover.
Oh, home makeover, yes.
Makeover.
Things like that have that high ticket value.
Me.
I'm like, you know what? It is worth it for me to click to 5 different affiliates, because I could win this, $1 million house. Instagram, especially lady Instagram, with the moms who sell stuff on Etsy and all of that. Sometimes they will do this Instagram chain thing, and it gets crazy if there's too many. All the people who are part of this chain, let's say it's 10 businesses, and dear God, it shouldn't be too many more. I was in one that was over 50. Not in one as a participant. I was clicking through. But let's say there's 10 businesses. They all follow each other. They all do similar things, like you sell mugs on Etsy. I sell earrings on Etsy. They do similar things. They're in similar lifestyle spheres. So they share some fan base, and they want to share more fan base. So they all post the exact same image saying, here's what you do to enter this wonderful contest with fabulous prizes.
Repost it?
You have to like all of the partners. You have to tag someone. You have to repost, and you have to comment. I think I had to comment on every person.
Too much work.
All 50 of the people who posted this, I had to go to each and every one and not only follow them, I had to comment on their post to prove that I had gone to all 10. And
it's too much work. It's too much work. It has to be easy, right? The campaigns and contests, above all, have to be easy.
Yeah.
Because the way we consume information now in 140 characters, if you're asking me to do 2-3 clicks, I'm gone.
Furthermore, you still do get the exposure to someone else's clients, but it may be in a bad way. Like, if I am exposed to you for the first time because you're the 50th freaking link I hit to click, not only, I'm kind of annoyed at everyone in your chain right now.
Right.
Right. It just gets a little... So be mindful, but at the same time, if you do it right, if you do it from a consumer-based mindset of what will be of value to my consumers that I can get together with these other brands on to do this contest, because you don't want to, just because it's a brand. What will be of value to your consumers? What other brands will be of value to your consumers? Because then you're giving them something. You're thinking of them. And it benefits you too. It benefits you and all your partners. So it's a great thing to do, but you really have to do it from a consumer-centered mindset.
Right. So we were talking earlier before we got overexposed. We were talking earlier about this one-to-one marketing and these personas. The way we consume information is we go out and tailor the information that we want, right? So we pursue the information that we want. Now marketers, smart brand proponents, they're saying, okay, well, what is this persona? Let's market to that person.
What are they
right? So
looking
one size
for?
does not fit all, right? One size doesn't fit all. So you have to tailor customize your efforts, your outreach efforts, your social media efforts, and your email marketing to specific target audiences. This idea of personas, right? Because I'm not going to look. Yeah, we both went to Vassar, so I might want to, some product that Vassar people tend to like, but you're a woman and I'm a man. Maybe I want Oakley, and maybe you want Etsy. I don't know. So you have to be. Marketers are increasingly more focused on catering to individuals because that's what it costs.
And to your point on that, another thing that we were discussing before, again, to get back to the value of an email list, is that also you can use that on social to specifically cater to the audience who already wants your stuff.
Right.
So let's say you have an email list. You've been doing what you're supposed to do. Now, you may think, oh, since I gathered a lot of that email list through, social media stuff, it's the same people. No, it's not. People find you in all sorts of different ways. Furthermore, you can create a custom audience in Facebook ads, in LinkedIn ads. I think Twitter can do it now, too, and certainly Instagram can because that's Facebook's advertising API. You can create a custom audience where you upload your mailing list. You can straight up upload your mailing list, and the bots in the advertising manager cross-check those things. They cross-check the names, they cross-check the email addresses with their own users. So Facebook says, oh, hey, Bruce Mendelson. We have a Bruce Mendelson on Facebook. You have a Bruce Mendelson on your mailing list that uses the same email. That's the same person.
Incredible.
So the ads managers know that, and you can serve up your ads exclusively to people who have already established that they're interested in what you have to offer. They are already interested in your brand. And you may think, well, I know who's interested in my brand. They like my Facebook page. But you'd be surprised, first of all. And second of all, this shows that they're doubly interested in your brand. So, the ads manager is going to make extra sure that you get in front of that person.
Yeah, so another way just to build on what you said is this notion of surveying. Right?
Yes.
Surveying is a no-cost way of finding out more about the people with whom you're already engaged.
I'm actually going to be sending out a survey soon because this is, I think, maybe my 8th show. I'm not sure. I've gotten a bunch of these in the can, and it's still not perfect yet. I'm still kind of figuring out the format. I'm figuring out everything about it, and the lighting. I'm figuring out everything about it. So I actually am going to be sending out a survey soon for those of you who have been watching the show to see what works, what doesn't work. I know quite a bit of
what you want, and what you want. What do you want? Right? Because this isn't like people people on Mount Olympus saying you're going to have this product and you're going to like it. It's the customer saying, no, this is what we want. Right?
Yeah.
Give us what we want, or we're going elsewhere.
Well, it's technically the Christine show. It's not the Christine show, because
It's
then
your
I
show.
could just be having conversations privately with Bruce, which is also lovely. But, I like
I don't think she would
people.
waste her time with me, though.
I like helping people.
Yeah.
I do.
It's nice.
Those of you who know me know that.
Can I tell you a joke?
Yes, you can.
All right. What do you call a wandering caveman?
What do you call a wandering caveman?
A Neanderthal.
You just got a Chewbacca grown out of me. Oh, man.
Terrible, sorry.
I didn't even know I could make that
My
sound.
daughter told that one to me.
Oh, that's a dad joke
Yeah,
right there.
sorry,
But you
yeah.
are dad.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, actually,
Sorry.
we are at our college reunion, so we should really get to drinking, especially since our college was founded by a brewer.
But not posting on social media. Well,
I'm
not all.
totally posting on social media. I'm doing Facebook Live from the mug tonight.
That's awesome.
But anyway, so thank you so much to Bruce Mendelson. Tell them how to
you.
find you.
So I'm on Twitter at BRM90, and I'm on LinkedIn at Bruce Mendelson. And I know that I have a website, the-hired-pen.com, and I know Christine is graciously going to put out some of that information, and I appreciate it.
Yes, it's already out there, so go and
wish
click.
you continued success.
Thank
and
you.
It's been,
You
real
as
fun
well.
to talk
Someone's
with
got to grab them up. And another thing that I wanted to the point of continued success, I have to promote the fact that on Thursday, June 15th, I'm going to be a presenter at the Mahwah Regional Chamber of Commerce Social Media Day Conference. It's a really exciting conference. I went last year. I was blown away. And I said, I would love to be in a position to speak at this next year. And I am, and I'm really excited. You can buy full day tickets, just morning, just afternoon, just after party. I'm going to be there for the whole shebang, as I was last year, and it was fabulous. My workshop is at 1:45, so if you get a morning-only ticket, you will not get my workshop. But at the same time, I am broadcasting it on Facebook Live, and it is about rocking your personal brand. So I hope to see as many of you as possible next Thursday in Mahwah. Definitely come say hi. I'm more approachable and personable in person
She's
than
very
I seem
vivacious.
online.
As you can tell.
I'm more of this in real life. So definitely come say hi. You will get a big hug. I'll be wearing lipstick, so you won't get a kiss, but big hug. And I hope to see some of you there. Bye.